Don't forget the doc. Several network participants recently called into Dr. Rick Wright's Old School Sundays radio show. Check this out.
Let's run down to New York City right now and find Donald Singletary, the world's greatest and richest public relations expert on faculty at New York University, man, and he is our pop cultural expert in the world of R&B and music, man. So what's up, Donald? How you doing this afternoon, man, from New York City?
Hey, Rick, everything good on a dreary New York City Sunday here? It's jury at the Syracuse bench, I tell you.
Oh, man.
Got to shout out my other school, too, Baruch College, part of the CUNY system. They keep me employed also.
Oh, they're keeping money flowing in your pockets also, right?
Got to do it. Hey, listen, Rick,
yes.
You just played some 50s stuff, and I'm glad you're keeping alive the roots of rock and roll and R&B. That music's so important. And, you know, the people who haven't heard it always seem to appreciate it. But I have a story I can tell. We lost a great, great rock and roll voice and a fantastic human being, Johnny Maestro, who was head of the Crest, that hit song 16 Candles, which is one of the classic doo-wop records. I know you must have played it in your life and danced to it,
right? Oh, yeah, 16 Candles, Johnny.
That's right. Trouble in Paradise, Step by Step.
Step by Step. Oh,
yes,
God, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in Little Italy, Mulberry Street.
Uh-huh.
And he had what took a lot of heart then to walk into my neighborhood, the Smith Housing Projects, and say, I'm just looking for folks who can sing. And he formed one of the first integrated groups. The Crest were one of the first integrated groups in rock and roll.
Yeah, 16 Candles, man.
And he had two black singers. One was a guy named Talmadge Goff. He lived in 180 South Street, also a famous building. They shot a movie there one time called Hat Full of Rain. Shot in the lobby, 180 South Street. Anyway, he signed Talmadge Goff and found a woman singer, a young girl named Pat Vandross, who, of course, we know now as Luther's older sister.
Yes.
And she sang with the Crest on their earlier recordings. She didn't stay with the group too long because in those days, you know, young girls didn't travel on the road. Daddies didn't appreciate that.
Wow.
And then Johnny had that great run with the Crest, and when that kind of peaked, he went on and formed another group. He merged with an old group called the Del Satins. And he got together a group called the Brooklyn Bridge. And you know how they got that name?
The worst thing could ever happen to me is to get married. That was that big
That's right.
Brooklyn
That was their big hit. You know what? The reason they named themselves the Brooklyn Bridge? Yeah. One of the managers said, man, the only way we can sell this group, I could probably sell the Brooklyn Bridge easier.
Oh, oh, wow.
And that's how they got. And we used to go see him back at the old Cheetah Discotheque, back before discos, there were discotheques.
Yes.
Back on 52nd and Broadway. And he would be there with the Brooklyn Bridge. And one day we pulled him aside and said, Johnny, you know, we're from the Smith Projects. And, man, he was all over us. So gracious and glad we'd come to hear him sing. And he was one of those guys, Rick, who sounded as good in person or better than he did on record. So he's a great loss. And everyone in the business is saying what a great guy he was. So Johnny Maestro, we shout him out today.
Johnny Maestro, Donald Singletary, man. I'm telling you, Deputy Chief of Police Frank Fowler. Hey, Frank, you ever heard that story about Johnny Maestro, man? No.
Not until right now, Doc.
He said that was a story he just found about right now, man.
You heard it here first.
Story, huh? Well, Donald Singletary, say hello to Chief of Police Frank Fowler here in Syracuse, New York, man.
Good to see you, sir. You know, people don't often thank law enforcement people for their service, so I'd like to thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Donald. Well, Donald, I tell you what, the phones are ringing off the hook here at area code 315-428-1069, man, and I'm going to call you back later, all right?
Well, I'll be listening down here. You take care. Shout out to all the Syracuse folks. I'll be up there in a couple of weeks, Rick.
Come on up, man. Donald Singletary checking in from New York City, man, the king of Harlem. Man, this brother knows everybody in New York City. All right, so get to all the Syracuse University alums throughout the world. Checking out Dr. Rick Wright, Power 106.9 Old School Sunday. On a big bad Sunday afternoon, Dr. Rick Wright live and well in Syracuse here at Power 106.9 Radio. Do it.
The network reminds you that you too may call into Dr. Rick Wright on Sundays between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check in with the doc at area code 315-428-1069. Don't forget the doc.